What if I told you that the most powerful prayer ever recorded contains exactly 5 strategic elements that could transform your entire prayer life? Today we're diving deep into what Jesus himself called the model prayer, and I'm going to show you the 5 crucial points that can revolutionize how you connect with God. Most people think prayer is just asking God for stuff, but Jesus revealed something far more profound. When his disciples asked him to teach them how to pray, he didn't give them a magic formula or a list of religious phrases. Instead, he gave them a blueprint that addresses the deepest needs of the human heart while aligning us with God's ultimate purposes. Before we jump into these 5 game-changing points, let me set the stage. Jesus was approached by his disciples who had been watching him pray. They noticed something different about his prayer life compared to what they'd seen from religious leaders of their time. They weren't asking for more prayers to memorize, they were asking for the secret behind effective communication with the Father. The first point Jesus taught is absolutely foundational, and it might surprise you. He begins with relationship, not requests. Notice how the model prayer starts with, "Our Father." This isn't just a polite greeting, it's establishing the entire framework for everything that follows. Before Jesus teaches us to ask for anything, he reminds us who we're talking to and who we are in relation to him. Think about it this way. When you approach your earthly father, you don't start by reciting his resume or listing his accomplishments. You come as a child who belongs in that relationship. Jesus is teaching us that effective prayer begins with remembering our position as beloved children of a perfect Father. This transforms prayer from religious duty into intimate conversation. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Jesus immediately follows this with the second point, which is about God's reputation and glory. "Hallowed be thy name" isn't just fancy religious language. It's declaring that our primary concern should be God's honor and reputation in the world. Before we get to our grocery list of needs and wants, Jesus teaches us to align our hearts with what matters most to God himself. This creates what I call the upward focus. Too often, our prayers become self-centered therapy sessions where we dump our problems on God and expect him to fix everything according to our timeline and preferences. Jesus flips this completely by teaching us to start with God's concerns, God's reputation, and God's glory. The third point builds on this foundation in a powerful way. "Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." This isn't passive resignation or religious-sounding submission. This is revolutionary. Jesus is teaching us to pray for God's perfect will and kingdom purposes to invade our broken world. Here's what most people miss about this phrase. In heaven, there's no sickness, no broken relationships, no injustice, no fear, and no death. When we pray for God's will to be done on earth as it is in heaven, we're actually praying for heaven's reality to break into our current circumstances. We're inviting God's perfect order, peace, and power into our messy situations. This third point also teaches us something crucial about alignment. Effective prayer isn't about convincing God to bless our plans, it's about discovering his plans and getting ourselves aligned with them. When our will synchronizes with God's will, prayer becomes incredibly powerful because we're asking for what God already wants to accomplish. Now we come to the fourth point, which addresses our daily, practical needs. "Give us this day our daily bread." Notice the progression here. Jesus has taught us to focus on relationship, God's glory, and kingdom purposes first. Only then does he address our personal needs. But when he does, it's beautiful in its simplicity and comprehensiveness. Daily bread represents everything we need to sustain life and fulfill our purpose. It's not just about food, though that's certainly included. It encompasses our physical needs, our emotional needs, our relational needs, and our spiritual needs. Jesus is teaching us that God cares about every aspect of our lives, but he wants us to approach these needs from the proper foundation. There's something profound about the word daily here. Jesus isn't teaching us to pray for a year's supply or even a week's worth. He's teaching us dependence and trust. Each day, we come to our Father acknowledging our need and trusting his provision. This keeps us in a posture of humility and faith rather than self-reliance and pride. The fifth and final point addresses what might be the biggest barrier to effective prayer: broken relationships and unresolved guilt. "Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors." This isn't just about being nice to people who hurt us. Jesus is revealing that unforgiveness creates static in our communication with God. Think of it like this. When you have unresolved conflict with someone close to you, it affects every interaction you have with them. Even when you're talking about completely unrelated topics, that underlying tension influences the conversation. Jesus teaches us that harboring unforgiveness toward others creates similar barriers in our relationship with God. But notice the connection Jesus makes here. He links God's forgiveness of us with our forgiveness of others. This isn't saying we earn God's forgiveness by forgiving others. Rather, it's saying that truly understanding and experiencing God's forgiveness naturally leads us to extend that same grace to others. The model prayer concludes with a recognition of our ongoing need for God's protection and deliverance. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. This acknowledges that we live in a fallen world with real spiritual challenges, and we need God's ongoing guidance and protection. Here's what ties all 5 points together. Jesus isn't just giving us a prayer to recite, though the words themselves are powerful. He's giving us a framework that transforms how we approach God and how we understand our relationship with Him. These 5 points create a rhythm that moves from worship to surrender to dependence to reconciliation to protection. When you start incorporating these 5 elements into your prayer life, something amazing happens. Prayer stops being a religious obligation and becomes the most natural thing in the world. You find yourself talking to God throughout the day because you've established the proper foundation for that relationship. The disciples asked Jesus to teach them to pray because they recognized something different about His connection with the Father. These 5 points reveal the secret. Effective prayer flows from understanding who God is, who we are, what He cares about, and how we can align our hearts with His purposes while maintaining clean relationships with others. Start implementing these 5 points in your prayer life today, and watch how it transforms not just your prayers, but your entire relationship with God.